Hello, I'm here with Michele, who's an old friend of mine and an agile coach at a well-known UK retailer and financial institution. Great to see you again, Michele.
Hey Martin, how you doing? Nice to see
Yeah,
you again.
good, thanks. And today we're going to talk about Michele's own experiences, both personal and professional, with using the agile coaching growth wheel. So let's jump straight in, shall we? Michele, tell us, how have you used the growth wheel?
How have I used the code wheel? Well, you and I spent a lot of time on the wheel in its infancy and as it was evolving. We know the inside and out of it. And I think that exercise was good at the beginning because we almost assessed ourselves on a preliminary version while we were improving it. Now, when we got to the finished product or good enough product, how have I used it? For myself, again, because it's useful if you use it regularly to assess where you are at the point in time and see how you're evolving. I've also used it with teams where I work. We're solid number of coaches, so we use it with them to try and scale it a bit. Like how are we shaping up as a team? What particular aspects of the wheel we cover well? Where do we need to improve and things like that? But really, I've been trying to use it also with Scrum Masters. We had this debate, right, in the community. So is this only for coaches? It's called the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel. So is it only for coaches? What is a coach anyway? And I kind of like, I want to test this theory. So I'm mentoring a couple of a Scrum Master and a wannabe Scrum Master on the side. So I used it with them just to, test the water. Say, so what do you think about this tool? And I have to say the first impact was shocking for them because like, oh, wait. I mean, I scored one in these, I scored two, I scored zero in some. Is that okay? Am I doing it right? And my first reaction was, yeah, of course, that's where you are on your journey. It's not if you're mature or immature. It's just that's where you are. Now we can pick one if you want where you want to be better, and we can take it from there. So I'm using a variety of scenarios to test the tool and see if it's really solid and efficient. And so far, it really is. It works.
Yeah, good, good. That's good to hear. We should be able to say that. So yeah, four different sort of lenses to look at it there. One, deeply involved in creating feedback as the thing evolved. Also, then for yourself with a team of coaches, and then as a targeted mentoring thing for Scrum Masters. And that's a good point to bring out that even though it is called the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel, it is available for any Agilist uh, who is interested in that wide range of competencies in it. Which of those case studies, if you like, or use cases stood out the most for you, Michele?
Experience-wise, definitely the work that you and I did while we were shaping up the tool.
Hmm.
But from a personal impact point of view, I think what really stood out when I used it with someone who was not a Scrum Master and is not a Scrum Master, someone working in a safe shop. So they are a release train engineer.
Right.
I know I kind of wanted some help with some aspects of safe. And well, I said to them, look, I'm like, there's this tool. It's a work in progress. Use it for yourself. Come back and have a conversation. So the fact that even someone who's not in a Scrum Master role, allegedly not even a coaching role, they identified some stuff that they really, really liked. And that stuck with me. I'm like, okay, so this is someone who's not even on the path to becoming a coach, and yet the wheel is useful for them to kind of give them a better framing of where they want to be, right? And we started using that to improve on some aspects of his craft, right? Even being a release engineer is not just about delivery. He had a team to coach, a team to mentor and train. So we focused on, let's say, the low-hanging fruit, um, the having your hands kind of like doing the work kind of stuff. So that for me was the best use of the tool where I was at the time. It felt like helping this person growing, and I have a tool that guides me or guiding them. It's almost like a meta thing.
Yeah. Cool. So he was able to, was it he, wasn't it? Able to see over the title, the Agile Coaching Growth Wheel. That wasn't a barrier. And once you then peer at the whole scope of things that are laid out there in front of you on the circle, he's able to
That's right.
find resonance with something, and you helped him find resonance. Yeah. Nice. I think
Yeah,
that's the first release train engineer we've talked about as a user. So that's nice. Another one.
yeah. I might ask him if he's happy for me to interview him.
Well, yeah, yeah. We'll get a different angle on it, won't we? Great, great.
Indeed.
If I can ask, what about the personal development aspect, if you will? You spent a lot of time with me and alone, using it for your own growth and your own journey. Anything you'd like to share about that?
The first point, and the obvious point perhaps, is the self-mastery center.
Mm,
That's really what took me a lot of time to self-assess, maybe because it's me, I'm a bit shy and an introvert, but really it made me realize that I spent a lot of energy focusing on that, on my day-to-day job. So that aspect, which is central for a reason, it was really the wheel helped me with for my personal growth. The other thing that made me realize is that I completed it recently, and also when you and I went through that preliminary version, which I believe it was 2 years ago now, maybe more. So even in those 2 years, I shifted my focus a bit, consciously, unconsciously, it's up for debate. But really, it made me realize how I evolved from a coach focused on coaching and training and mentoring, more like the soft skills, if you wish,
mm,
to more of an operational kind of coach, like organizational change sphere, training sphere. And that kind of maps with the kind of learning journey that I took. So again, it was a good validation that what the wheel was telling me on reflection, it matched with the reality. It was not just something that, kind of like theoretical thing. So yeah, those two elements for sure. My moving towards a more operational kind of coach role, in that sense, it even makes sense, to a self-master is still absolutely centered and important for that. Actually, another element of it is that apart from the iterational value of doing it regularly, there's also the aspect that I don't know if we stress enough is the peer review.
mm.
As a matter of fact, you and I, we almost like review it together while we were editing and refining the document in its infancy. Um, and also, I did a peer review with one of my colleagues because otherwise it's just your point of view and it might be skewed, right? It's like having an objective reflection on your reflection.
I think that's a big, powerful aspect. Let's, for the folks listening, the idea is that this peer review step or suggestion that we make with the use of the growth wheel is that the, the buddy that you're working with, as you did to me and I did to you, we helped each other in check. So I might say, oh, I don't really know. I don't know, three scaling frameworks to pick an easy example. And you were able to sort of tease that out of me and say, well, yeah, I think you do. And then I realized, okay, that's just a moment I'm having on the day. So you were lifting me up. But conversely, it might go the other way. I might think of I'm at a practitioner level or a guide level on some other aspect, and you challenge me and go, well, yeah, how many of those have you actually done, or how many experiences can you call on? And I go, one, and you kind of give me that reality check. So that's the idea of how the peer review would work. That you respectfully challenge each other both upwards and downwards in direction. That's an important aspect I'd like to bring out.
Yeah,
It sounds like the self-mastery thing, you were choosing your stances as you moved from sort of personal and team coach to organizational coach, did you say? So I
yeah,
don't know
no,
what that
that's
means
right.
particularly, but it sounds like pulling on the self-mastery tool, you were able to um, choose your operating mode.
Yeah, yeah. It's not only choosing it, it's almost like realizing that there was a change of mindset in the way I was approaching the coaching assignment from going literally from coaching individuals and mentoring and kind of like almost like sometimes going into life coaching territory, right? It was a lot more about the system and,
Mm.
identifying how to invite change across the system and throughout the system, that would still mean working with individuals, but less much so into a coaching role. More like, hey, there's an improvement opportunity here. Do you have the skills to go into it, come back and have a conversation? It wasn't me kind of saying, hey, I've seen this before. This is what I've seen happen. What do you think? Is it a good idea or not? So it's a slight tweak, operational model to coach, but the will reinforce that. It made me realize that was my trajectory, and that's absolutely fine.
Mm. Cool. Creating that awareness and that frame of reference for you to operate in. That's great. Let's round it off with one last question. We're going to keep these interviews fairly short. So, is there any particular thing that you'd like to see improved or enhanced in a later version of the wheel, or if something was lacking for you when you were using it in these different scenarios?
Yeah, one, been trying to get the team, my colleagues at work, to complete it. And as I was struggling to find the time, I realized that you still need to focus for a few hours for the tool to be effective. And I was wondering if there was a way to make it easier. Not to dilute the content as such, but just an easy entrance to the world of the Agile coaching growth wheel, because now it's still a steep learning curve to learn how to use the tool properly, to get what I mean. So I know that we have the comparative agility tool set, then one can use. So it's a more virtual way of doing it. Instead of, I'm laughing if I remember you like to print it out on paper. Like, oh, that's like old school way of doing it. But it's a more digital way of doing it, and to assess yourself, like, badges and achievements, gamifying it a bit maybe to make it more accessible to our professional partners.
I wonder if that's why quite a few of the people we've spoken to in this round of awareness and interviews, a lot of people have actually come up with an adaptation of their own to meet the kind of need that you've described, in their own way. Quite a few people have done something bespoke on it. They've found it worth putting that effort in to make it, to perhaps lower a barrier for them. Yeah, okay. Well, listen, let's wrap it up there. Thanks very much for your time again this evening, and it was good to catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you, Martin. It was a pleasure.
yeah. I'll see you soon. Bye now.
Bye.